Hello, and welcome to coverage of custom standard casual matches. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching a match between Seoul and Lincoln. So, uh, Seoul, I think, these days exclusively plays one deck, and that's Crest. So, for those of you who don't know, Crest is essentially a ramp deck, which it's a five-color ramp deck, which uses the titular card Crest the Waters in order to cheat out large creatures. Crest the Waters essentially, it's a 3 mana fervor, but then you can also pay basically white, black, red, green, blue to turn it into a sneak attack without having to sacrifice a creature on end step, basically. Um, Meanwhile, Lincoln looks to be playing mono-red aggro. Oh my god, wait, I was super wrong. They both appear to be on mono-red aggro. Okay, yeah. Neither of these, Rotting Hellhound and Waranga Firestalker, are cards that are only really played in mono-red aggro. Um, I guess Lincoln is definitely a brewer, so this could be like switch flit aggro or something. Because Lincoln has mentioned wanting to find a place to play switch flit in, but I doubt it. I really doubt it because um, I think even Lincoln isn't that what do you call it? The experimental. So Unproven Hatchling on 2. This is definitively the best card in mono-red aggro. Essentially, if you next turn, if Soul lets Unproven Hatchling stay on the board, it's essentially going to swing out as a 4/4 with flying, maybe even a 5/4. Soul playing a Hunter Seeker. So Hunter Seeker is a good aggressive card, but it's a little bit more grindy than you usually want to be in mono red, in my opinion. Because I think you want most like a density of creatures with haste to turn on Unproven Hatchling, and Hunter Seeker not having that hurts a lot. Oh, and Lincoln playing another Unproven Hatchling. Oh my god, I think this leaves Soul like dead in 2 turns. Um, does Lincoln have the 1-drop to be able to turn on this Unproven Hatchling? If not, then I think Lincoln just waits, doesn't attack with anything. No, attacking with. I think this is a mistake. I think this is a bold-faced mistake. Yeah, because Soul just blocks the Unproven Hatchling. Okay, in response, gonna Hired Hit to kill the Hunter Seeker. Uploading, let's see, a mountain from Lincoln's hand. Huh. I almost feel like, and I also, since Hired Hit is an instant, I feel like you don't attack with Unproven Hatchling there to like get Soul to block. I feel like you just do that on Soul's turn, especially because if Soul has an Unproven Hatchling of his own, that's a way, way, way more high priority target than Hunter Seeker. So Hired Hit as a card is pretty interesting because it's basically Lightning Bolt, but you have to essentially take the tempo or like the card advantage / tempo loss of having to upload a card from your hand. What is uploading? Well, you can pay 2 at sorcery speed to put the card from exile into your hand. So it's essentially making a card in your hand cost 2 more to cast, which, if you're an aggressive deck which wants to play cheap cards, that's not how you want to do it. So Soul playing a Hunter Seeker and then a Pouncing Caracal. However, this is not the board you want to be seeing when facing down 2 Unproven Hatchlings. Soul really wanted like a Fire Blast there, or not Fire Blast, Flame Blast. So Lincoln, I think, has only 1 card in hand, but if Lincoln has a haste creature, plays the haste creature, and then attacks with all 3, despairs with Rotting Hellhound, and then uses any excess mana to pump Unproven Hatchlings. Tapping 4, Squalling Screecher. Yeah, I think I think Soul just dies here. Let me do the math. So Soul takes 5. Yeah, Soul takes exactly 15 if Lincoln despairs the Rotting Hellhound. And Soul recognizes that, concedes. We're going to game 2. Lincoln saying, "Oh, cool." So I don't think Lincoln saw that line. So Soul was maybe a little bit hasty. I think forcing your opponent to have it always makes sense. From the sideboard here, in like the mirror, I don't know what MonoRed has. Like, okay, I guess if you don't, uh, MonoRed could have like uh, Flame Blast in the side because it doesn't want to reduce threat density in the main. Um, Also, depending on how much you want to hedge the aggro matchup, you could have a Flame Storm, which is essentially uh, deals 3 damage to each creature for 1 red, and then for each creature that's killed this way, an opponent takes 1 damage. Or sorry, it's control each for each creature killed this way, its controller takes 1 damage. It's usually really good in like red control, like or not, yeah, like red X control. But I think really from the side, it's probably just going to be a removal if anything, and then just hope to have a better hand. So Soul leading with a Pouncing Caracal, and Lincoln leading with a Waranga Firestoker. Unlike the Caracal, Firestoker has haste, but Caracal can become a 2/2 with, and it has Menace on its face, and it can become a 2/2 if Soul doesn't have any other play here. But no, Soul's going to pay 2 for Pyromancer's Wisdom. It's a ritual which also gives card advantage, which can be scary. Hits a mountain off of it. Paying 3 for Waranga Firestoker plus another haste creature or Unproven Hatchling here. Oh, 3 1-drops? And a shock, killing the wrong. Yeah, okay, makes sense. And now Soul is going to be attacking for 5 here because the Waranga Firestokers have Prestige, which means you put a +1/+1 counter in them if they attack with 2 or more other creatures. This puts Soul in a really good position. So Lincoln is immediately on the back foot and is on a 3-turn clock. And that was a turn 2 play. Like how many games do you have where you have a board this wide on a turn 2? And I guess really this matchup is very swingy on who plays first because play versus draw is so huge. So Lincoln tapping 2 for, let's see, Goblin Ragemonger. This is a problem because Goblin Ragemonger, even though it has first strike, has to attack, so Lincoln can't use it as a blocker. And Lincoln doesn't have a fast enough clock to be able to beat what Soul has on board right now. Like Lincoln, at best, Lincoln takes 5 here, assuming that Soul has those 2 cards in Soul's hand are no other creatures. And it looks like, I guess it looks like that is the truth. Oh no. Yeah, it's going to Assault Pouncing Caracal. So Lincoln takes 6 here. And yeah, Soul just goes to end. I wonder what the 2 cards in his hand are. Could be like Hired Hit to kill an Unproven Hatchling if Lincoln has it, or just to shoot face and then kill Lincoln next turn. Or just a shock. So Lincoln has another Goblin Ragemonger. So swings for 4, or has another, let's see, another 1-drop. Rotting Hellhound isn't bad. Swings for 5, or potentially if Lincoln, okay, so Lincoln is going to Despair it. So is going to hit Soul for 6 here, or 7 with the Rotting Hellhound. But I think on the clapback, Soul can just kill Lincoln next turn. And due to Despairing, Rotting Hellhound will die on end step. Okay, so Soul did not have the Hired Hit. I wonder what's in Soul's hand. Because unless it's like 2 Squalling Screechers, you would usually have everything in your deck you can play at this curve. So Soul has Minister of Zealots, okay, and is going to be swinging out for 7. It could be a shock. If Soul has like swings out for 7, has shock to Lincoln's face, that would work. And Soul's just going to end. I think if Soul had the shock, Soul would have just killed there. But yeah, so Lincoln needs to be able to off of 4 cards, killed Soul this turn, and I don't think it's possible to deal 10 damage. But double Rotting Hellhound turns are a hell of a drug. So, Rotting Hellhound into like double Rotting Hellhound into Waranga Firestoker might just do it, or like double Rotting Hellhound into another Goblin Range Ragemonger. But without like the pump, I don't know how Lincoln kills Soul here. And yeah, Lincoln just concedes, and we're going to a game 3. Game 3 that I think Lincoln has a very good chance of winning because Lincoln is on the play. But then again, so it comes down to, it's like a rock, paper, scissors of play, or like not even rock, paper, scissors. It's just the factors that you have to consider are unproven hatchling and being on the play. And unproven hatchling, I think in most cases beats out being on the play. But if you're on the play and have unproven hatchling, you beat out just having unproven hatchling. And yeah, Soul is saying it's so hard to play from behind in this matchup. There's like no outs that you have. Which, you know, I think that's kind of good. Like, it's just whoever goes faster wins. And playing interaction of any sort just dilutes the deck. So, I mean, interaction that isn't burn that can also go face. So, because I know I mentioned Flame Blast earlier, and I think I mentioned that because it's the most efficient red removal. But I think I was incorrect in mentioning it in this type of shell because of how aggressive it is. Any removal wants to have the dual purpose of being able to go face to finish. So my assessment of Flame Blast being anywhere in the 75 is probably wrong. So Soul, I believe, is keeping at 7. Lincoln, however, is going to mulligan to 6. So Lincoln opening up with a Rotting Hellhound. You always want to have that haste 1-drop, and Rotting Hellhound, by virtue of being a creature-based anthem as well, is really what you want to have in your opener. Soul is going to respond in kind. Yep. Rotting Hellhound of his own. So, but isn't attacking? Interesting. Because I guess, again, playing from behind, Rotting Hellhound blocks Rotting Hellhound. Or at least can just, like, keep it out of the way. And I guess Soul's hand is probably not fast enough to race. If Lincoln goes land, drop, unproven hatchling, then I think that kind of just wins him the game. Assuming that Soul doesn't have a shock. And he has a Goblin Ragemonger instead. So I don't think that staying back was, because Lincoln is just going to get in anyways, and is going to have their momentum, so you want to just try and be faster. And if Soul's hand isn't faster, I don't think you should have kept the hand. Tapping 2 for Pyromancer's Wisdom, that's acceleration. Is Soul going to go like the same line we saw before of Waranga Firestoker, Waranga Firestoker, another 1-drop? It's another Pyromancer's Wisdom off of the first one. Yeah, that's a good place to be. And yep, okay, Unproven Hatchling, Waranga Firestoker. No reason not to swing with the Firestoker. Okay, so swinging with both. It grabs the Pyromancer's Wisdom. If Lincoln doesn't have removal for the Unproven Hatchling next turn, Soul could really swing this game around. Especially because next turn, Waranga Firestoker procs and turns into a 2-2. Rotting Hellhound has to attack and will probably be blocked. Actually, won't be. Only thing that can block it will be Rotting Hellhound. And if that just doesn't make sense. So Soul would probably just despair it and then go in, or it could just keep it around, I suppose. But either way, whether or not the point is not whether Soul despairs Rotting Hellhound or not. The point is, right now, if Lincoln doesn't have a hired hit or a shock for this Unproven Hatchling, Soul is most likely winning this game. Double Waranga Firestoker to be able to attack with a board of like 2/2s doesn't hurt either. So start of combat. Basically, Soul is trying to see if Lincoln is going to kill the unproven hatchling in response to the prestige trigger, I think. And Lincoln's saying no responses. So Soul swings out with everything. Both Varanga Firestokers become 2/2s. Unproven hatchling becomes a 4/4. And is Soul going to despair the Rotting Hellhound? Nope. It just gets blocked by Lincoln's Rotting Hellhound. Lincoln is dead next turn though, because Soul can pump Unproven Hatchling and then just hit Lincoln in the air. So Lincoln goes down to 9. Second main phase, Blazing Volley that kills Lincoln's Rotting Hellhound. That's really good sideboard tech in this matchup, actually. Because unlike Flamestorm, it's one-sided. It could really just nuke a pre-flipped Varanga Firestoker board. So not sure what Lincoln's outs are here, but has another Rotting Hellhound. 2 Rotting Hellhounds. This is the line we were talking about in the other game. So despairs with both. So that means attacking for 4, 6, 8. That puts Soul down to 7, but Lincoln loses on the crackback. And that's it. Yeah, Lincoln just concedes because he realizes he's going to die in the crackback. And Soul wins 2-1. Despite my doom and gloom about Soul probably losing because Lincoln was on the play, Soul did have the unproven hatchling, and so the rock, paper, scissors I talked about earlier did play out. So good games, and Soul takes it 2-1 over Lincoln, both on MonoRed Aggro.